Welcome to Fur, Fins, and Feathers. Today is our 35th episode, and I would like to pay tribute today to a dear friend of the dog fancy and a noted Swansea resident, Gail Zarowski, who passed away this past week. Gail was a longtime member of the Wampanoag Kennel Club. She was a very ardent obedience enthusiast and a breeder of Cocker Spaniels. We acknowledge her passing and pay tribute to her family and offer our prayers. Today we have a guest in the audience. We have
Tish Ciccotelli.
Tish Ciccotelli, that's a mouthful, of Rochester, who has been in animals, in companion animals,
Yes.
for decades.
Yes.
How
Yes.
did you start, Tish?
I grew up with animals my entire life.
Where?
In Canton. I grew up in Canton and had animals my entire life. We had the cows, we had the sheep, but I was so little I don't remember them. But I always had the pony that I never got to ride until I got to be bigger than her, because every time I got on her, she'd buck me off, and then I'd get on and she'd buck me off. And that's where you learn, when you fall off a horse, you get back on. And I lost the touch with the animals, except for having cats and dogs, until I was 20, and I leased a horse for a couple of years, and I loved it. And then that stopped, and when I was 30, I got my first horse, and that's what started everything to where I am now.
Now you are the owner of Englenook Farm in
Correct.
Rochester.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
My horse walked onto the farm property in December 1999. We bought this beautiful little piece of property in Rochester and built the barn. The barn itself was from Texas. It was the only one like it in New England when it was built. And I built 8 stalls, and the point was I was going to be boarding horses. And so I still board horses today, but in 2006 or 7, I brought in livestock and started with the llamas and the chickens, and then it kind of morphed into whatever anybody drops off at the farm I had or have. Today we have, I still board 3 horses. I have 5 equine of my own, a Mustang, 2 minis, a donkey, and a pony. I have 5 llamas and alpacas, 1 wonderful goat. We call him the sheriff because he just free roams the property and takes care of everything. And a couple bunnies. I just rescued some cats, and I have a couple hundred chickens. Amongst that is about 30 plus roosters. I have great neighbors, by the way.
That's a handful.
It is a handful, but I wouldn't change it. It's a passion.
Passion for livestock.
It's a passion for caring for all these animals. It's like it's a little part of life I feel I can do. I'm their guardian while they're here. I try to give them the best life that they could look for. A lot of them had been passed over, throwaways by their previous owners. The people that board with me stay with me because they know what a passion I have for the animals, and that I will always put their welfare before mine. So I do feel I take great care of these animals.
You have a special donkey, don't you?
Rosie.
Tell me about Rosie.
Rosie is as old as Methuselah. She's great. She was actually my brother's, but I do call her mine since I take care of her. But she's great. She is in her late 30s, I guess, but she reminds me of Eeyore. She just goes with the flow. Wherever anybody goes, she follows along. But she's acquired a new friend, which is one of my young roosters, who has grown up to be a beautiful rooster. And I walked in her stall one day, and he's perched on her back. And now pretty much every morning I walk in her stall, and there he is. And I walk her out to the paddock, and he goes for the ride on her back. And it's kind of like they've become friends, because in the rooster world, he's been pushed away by the other roosters, because I have so many. They all have to pick their spots, and right now there's really not a spot in the chicken world for him, so he's accommodating Rosie and keeping Rosie company, and Rosie keeps him company. It works out for both of them. It's a win-win.
That sounds like an amazing children's book.
Well, it's great, and it should be, because this, and the whole farm life should be, because those aren't the only 2. I have one of my boarder's horses is 33 years old, and she's awesome, but I lost one of my horses last month, which was her companion, and I have a goat, the goat Levi, and he doesn't leave her side. And she doesn't leave his side. No matter where you see one, not 10 feet away will be the other. And I just think it's great the way they don't care what their species is, they're friends. And they're inseparable friends, just like Rosie and Marshall, the rooster, are. They're just inseparable. And I love watching the animals at the farm. I spend hours watching them. I don't get much done when I do that, but they're fascinating to watch. Just their interactions with each other is just amazing.
There's a very profound education there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You would not, it's incredible. Even like the familiarity of the chickens. It's like, I'll never forget, I had 2 chickens that were identical. I used to call them the twinnies. And one of them actually hatched out like 3 chicks. And after 2 weeks, she decided, I'm done. Well, her twin sat on those chicks and raised those chicks, and I just thought that was kind of cool. And the same with the llamas. I had 2 born on the property within a month of each other, and one was not a good mother. Well, the other llama took the young cria, which is what a baby llama is called, under her wing and nursed her and raised her. So it's just, animals tend to step in where they need to. They don't, obviously don't ask questions. I know that's a silly way of putting it, but they do what needs to be done to survive, and I just think that's great.
You have more than 30 roosters.
I do.
Tell me about your life with the roosters.
I do not cull any of my chickens. When they stop laying, they just live their life out. They've done their job. They've given me the eggs, so they get to live. And the roosters, every rooster born on my property never goes anywhere because most people don't want roosters, or they'll use them for dinner. And consequently, a lot of people that have a rooster will call me and say, can you take them? My neighbors don't like them. Can you take them? My neighbors don't like them. Or can you take them? The town won't allow me to have them.
Why is that such a problem?
I don't know, because I love the sound of a rooster. Because most people think, they're woken up by them. Well, you get woken up by dogs too, Roosters are amazing in what their job is, because they all have their certain hens that are their family. And I have watched on more than one occasion roosters saving the girls from predators. One day I was looking out my window, and the hens were running up to the barn, and one of the roosters was running across the back of the house, and right behind him was a fox. And his job at that point was to save the girls, so he distracted the fox and did that. That just happened again, and he was fine. I yelled out the window, scared the fox, and that happened about 3 weeks ago again. I'm working in the barn, and a bunch of the chickens came running in. And I said, that's really not normal. And I look out, and a fox had grabbed one of my roosters. I yelled at the fox. He dropped the rooster, so he was okay. But the rooster distracts him so that the hens can get to safety. Even when they eat, they cluck while they eat. And the roosters will call the girls over saying, there's some food here. He'll pick it up and drop it, pick it up and drop it. He won't eat until they're done eating. It's just really amazing to watch the interaction of all these. And like I said, obviously I watch them enough that I don't get a whole lot done, but they're worth watching.
Talk about your horses.
Oh, my horses. Well, the horses I have right now are all retired. I used to show for fun, and it really was fun. I've had some amazing horses in my personal life. I've always shown, like I said, for fun, and it's always been, I would just load my horse up and go to a show, or trail riding is awesome. It's like you're out in the middle of the woods. Sometimes you're with a buddy, sometimes you're by yourself, but it's just so peaceful and so beautiful just to be walking along with your best friend. Horses, again, they're truly amazing. And people that don't have these animals, whether it's a chicken, a horse, or a goat or a donkey, they really are intelligent animals, and they really think about what they're doing in their lives. They don't just live their life casually. They know what they're doing. And like in the horse world, like I said, I have this boarding horse right now that she's lost because she lost her friend, and the goat steps in. But in my own equines, I have a Mustang who also is 33 years old. And it's in his mind, it's his job to take care of the 2 mini horses. He doesn't let them out of their sight. And when I have to take one of them in the barn for having their feet trimmed or whatever, he'll pace the fence until they're brought back, because those 2 are his charges. And that's his job, is to watch out for those 2. And it's just really great. I mean, people should get along like that.
More people should get
More
along
people
like
should
that.
get along like that, right? They're all just great. There's not an animal that I don't love. And like I said, even though I live in a farm town, I'm very thankful for my neighbors, because I do have the 37 plus roosters. That roosters don't just crow in the morning. They don't just crow at night. They crow when there's danger. They crow to bring them in at dinner time. They crow if there's, they crow for various reasons. And if you watch them, you learn what their crow means. They all sound different. The resonations are different, but they all have a purpose. But because of that, you're always listening to chickens, whether it's the hens laying an egg because they stop making a racket. But I keep checking with my neighbors, asking. They said, oh, no, we don't even hear it anymore, because it becomes white noise. They are so used to it. And I'm thankful for that. I've now since gotten guinea hens. They never stop talking. But they're great, because they will get all the ticks, and they eat ticks. That's their primary job. And
Source of nourishment.
yeah, that too, except in the winter it's not so hot. But and the funny thing with them is, I put them with the chickens when they were youngsters, and then gave them their own coop area, and they morphed themselves back in with the chickens. So they hang with the chickens, which is great for me. I like all of them together, so I can kind of keep an eye on them, because we do have the fox predators. I got devastated this past summer, where the fox probably took about 50 of my hens at various times in 2 or 3 months. So
that seems to be a problem.
that fox is now no longer with us, but like I said 3 weeks ago, a new one has arrived, but I haven't seen him since. So I'm hoping he was just passing through. So the thing with my property and my animals is they're all so peaceful. They see a fox, they just think he's one of them. You know, they don't think anything about it. So, you know.
What about pigs?
Love pigs. Never had a pig. Love pigs though. I'd be tempted to get a house pig, but no. I've never been set up for pigs. But if one came my way that really needed a home, I would set something up for them. I always do spur of the moment. I seldom say no, but it does tap you out. I mean, these animals are not easy to feed and, you know, monetarily wise, but I look at it as what I get back from them. And it's such a rewarding thing to have all these animals, but it's also a heartbreaking thing to have all these animals because they're not going to outlive you. 9 times out of 10, they're not going to outlive you. And it's a lot of heartache, sometimes too much.
A lot of expense, too, with
Huge
veterinary
expense.
care and
Huge
things
expense.
yes.
And I have a phenomenal vet that she knows I know my animals, so she knows that if I call and say I need her, she's there in a heartbeat. And she comes from Marshfield, so it's not like she's right next door. But she is amazing. And to keep these animals like this, it takes a village. It's like it takes your vet. It takes someone that's, you know, wants to help out in the barn. And, you know, some people call and say, hey, do you need some help? It's like, sure, I'd love it. Just expect to get dirty, you know, because people want to come and they think that it's kind of easy. And for them, it's fun because it's, I'll do it today and I'll see you next week. But when you have to do it in the winter, when it's freezing cold and you're breaking the ice, it's not easy. In the summer, when it's 100 degrees, you got to make sure that they're cool enough, they have their shade, they have their water. There's always, Mother Nature's not nice on a farm. But, you know, you take the good with the bad.
I met, if I think I remember correctly, your farrier.
You did. You met one. I've gone back.
You have had several.
I've had several, but I've always gone back to the same one that I've had. The one I use now I had for probably 15 years, but the one you met was a corrective shoeing farrier, whom I don't need anymore. So my one farrier that I've used primarily is the one that comes all the time.
That's a rare profession, isn't it?
It's getting, I'm hearing more names in the profession now.
Really?
But yeah, but they're the new up and coming ones. I like the tried and true steady ones that have done it, that for them it's their passion. You know, it's certainly a profession that takes a toll on their body because they're bent over 9 times out of 10. Now, they have the little tiny mini hoof, which does nothing, but then they have draft horse hooves that's a lot of weight that they're holding their, on their knee, on their back. So I give them a lot of credit. The farrier, the dentist, the vets, they're all, you got to have a good group of people behind you to have a good, healthy barn. And I tend to think, considering my animals do live well into their 30s, I like to think I have a good, healthy barn. I try to keep it that way as much as I can, but like I said, it takes takes a village,
And they have to come out, too.
They do. They absolutely do. You have the traveling vets, traveling farriers, and my dentist comes actually up from Florida. He comes once a year. Sometimes he comes once a year now, but when I had younger horses, he would come twice a year because that should be, part of their care, dental
Did
care.
you ever want to be a vet?
Everybody tells
You've worked with animals, though.
Everybody tells me I should be a vet or should have been a vet. My problem is I understand. At first, I was thinking, I could never put an animal down, but I understand that when they're really sick or they are in discomfort, and sometimes it's the best thing for them. I get that. My heart goes out to the owners that, like myself, that at a heartbeat I will cry knowing I've had to put my animal down. I know it's best for them. I get that, but that doesn't make it easier on your heart. So my heart goes out to those people that, have lost their friend. So no, I couldn't be a vet for that reason. And I also don't think I have the brain to be all that training that they go through. I'm great with day-to-day management of any veterinary care that my animals need, and I'm great. I've learned so much from my vet. She, like I said, she's just amazing, and because she trusts me knowing what I need to know, she'll show me and allow me to do what I need to do for my horses without her having to come out every single time. Sometimes, if they're in discomfort or whatever, there's a shot of what you might have to give them Banamine, which relaxes them and whatever. And most people don't want to give their horses a shot, but if they need it to make them more comfortable, I will. You have to deworm them all the time. I mean, it takes a lot to keep horses healthy. But again, it's a passion. You're going to be all in or not. You can't be partway in. It doesn't work that way.
How do the common folk that have a family pet, what do they need to learn to keep current?
A family pet?
Yeah.
Like
It's a hard question.
Like a cat, dog type household pet?
Yeah.
I think personally vet care is really important. However, I think a lot of things can be handled at home. I don't think you need to be bringing your animal to the vet for every single
That's
thing. Like
the kind of question that I wanted to
Yeah,
ask. Because a lot of people are telling me, or people have come up to me and said, I don't have the monetary
right,
resources
yeah,
to take my animal to a vet.
yeah,
And the animal suffers.
right. If your animal is suffering, it has to go to the vet. Has to. And that's a tough question because it's daily maintenance is what's important. And if your animal gets sick, you have to bring it to a vet. You don't have a choice because we're not vets. We don't have the capabilities of making them comfortable. And that is the most important thing. I just lost my dog, as you know. He was 14 years old and he had separation anxiety. I got him as a 2-year-old. And he would jump through windows. He would jump out a second-story window. He'd been hit by a car. He was like the dog with 10 lives. He would always bounce back and be great. But now in his older years, he got sore. I mean, his joints were sore. He was on the medication needed by the vet to try to make him comfortable, and he was comfortable. I got him a wheelchair in case he needed that. He didn't like the wheelchair, so he still waddled his way around the property, and he was happy. But you have to know your animal enough to know when it's time. I mean, he was living for me, I think, but I told him, I talk to my animals a lot, they're my friends. And I had explained to him that when he couldn't sleep through the night because he was uncomfortable, that's when I knew it was time. Because he was still eating 2 cans a day, he was still waddling his way out to the barn, spending the day, no matter where I was, he'd waddle his way over to me. I'd have a buggy that I'd put him in the buggy and carry him around, but he still ate, his eyes were bright. But for a couple nights in a row, he was whiny, which tells me now he's uncomfortable. So I brought him to my vet, and he put him down, which the vet said it was time, but it to this minute, it still kills me because he was such a faithful dog. But for my own benefit and my own comfort, I wasn't going to make him live that way. And it's a tough decision that people have to make, but they need to do it. They shouldn't just drop them off at shelters because they're getting older and they don't want to watch them get old. They're not disposable. No cat, no dog, no animal is disposable. Even the large animals, people just free to good home. Free to good home is not a good thing because there's so many things out there and so many people out there that will take them and resell them, and it's not fair. When you take an animal into your life, no matter how small it is, it's for their life that you're taking them in, and you need to be, if you can't afford something, there's a lot of good vets out there that will work with you and understand. If you're treating your animal the best you can, they help you out. It's nature. It's what a good vet does. So, my vet, like I said, she's phenomenal. It's like she knows sometimes I have the money on hand and sometimes I don't, but she'll still take care of that animal knowing that I'll catch up with her. And that's really important, especially with large animals, because it doesn't always work that way. And you go to some of these huge clinics and they won't even look at you unless you have a credit card in hand. So what are you supposed to do when you have this large animal, they're sick? Your only option is to put them down, even though there's a better option that they could live with, except that it's expensive. So it's a tough call. It's, like I said, it's done with a passion, and you have to make choices. Some of them aren't the best, but you have to make the best choice for the animal, not the best choice for you. That's the way I look at it. Right or wrong, that's my theory.
So what's next for you?
Well,
do you ever sleep, Tish?
A few hours. Because when I come in from the barn, it's usually 7 or 8 o'clock at night. In the summer, it's usually 9 o'clock at night. Then I have to do my daily things, like I work part-time from home, so I have to do some of that work. And then you have to take chill time before you go to sleep. So yeah, I probably get 4 or 5 hours, maybe, if I'm lucky. It's okay. It's all good.
Work holidays throughout the year?
No vacations. No vacations.
When was the last time you had a vacation?
Luckily, I was thankful enough that I got in line this past Memorial Day. I did get to go away for 4 days where I had to line up. It takes 5 people to do my job. I need 5 people to take care of me when I go away. I need 5 people to take care of the animals. And I got those great people that did the animals while I was away for 5 days. Needless to say, you're on the phone with them all the time. Oh, the fox came by. It's like, I don't want to hear it. There's nothing I can do here. Just let me have a vacation. But it's not often. And you can't expect it. Vacations cost a lot of money. The time is the most important thing. When you have a farm, time is everything when you're dealing with this amount of animals. And
are a lot of farms being sold? I see that on the internet, that a lot, especially in the Midwest, that there are a lot of farms that are going into foreclosure. They're closing their operations, etc.
I've been seeing that too, and I know like the cow farmers are having a really tough time because they can only charge just so much for their milk, so to speak, but their feed bills are going to keep going up and up and up. And it's like people aren't going to pay $6 or $7 for a gallon of milk, but these farmers have no control over when grain bills go up, and nothing ever goes down. When I started this, I was getting hay for $3.25 a bale. I now pay $10 a bale. So that's a huge jump. And I've always tried to keep my boarding at something affordable so that people that were like me, that really, really wanted a horse and can only afford just so much to have that horse, can have a horse. I don't have an indoor arena. I don't charge top dollar. And I'm a very simple barn. So you get the very simple things. But the most important thing is your horse is going to be cared for, period. The best.
Cared for well.
Cared for very well, yeah. I treat all horses like they're mine, whether they're mine or not. Because I just want every animal in my care is going to get the best care I can give them. But it's not always easy. You know, you get sick, you still drag your butt out to the barn because they don't know you're sick and they don't care that you're sick. They want their breakfast. It just happens. Winter with the ice is horrible. I hate the winter because the cold hurts. The heat is one thing, it slows you down and you feel muggy and you might smell, but so doesn't everybody else around you. The cold hurts. You can only put so many layers of clothing on to get warm. Your hands are never, ever, ever warm. I have yet to find a good pair of warm gloves. I just wait for winter to get past. It's horrible. But
April cannot come quick enough.
no. And daylight savings. I hate when it changes to the short hours. Hate that. But it's getting earlier now. It's like we're almost at that little hump, couple more days, and it's going to get lighter minute by minute. Those minutes count.
They do.
Those minutes really count. Yeah, they do. But it's great. But like I said, I wouldn't change it. And you have to have great employers that understand what you have. I worked 30 years for a company in Rockland who they knew my horses and they knew that if I have an emergency, I got to go. And they never had a question, never had a problem with that. Some employers do, and if that's the case, then I can't work for a person like that because, again, the farm will always come first. And who do they call when there's an emergency but me? Because I know every animal. It's like you just watch them and you can tell. They may not even show anything is off, but you just might sense something is off because you're so close to them and you know them so well. So it takes a lot. But it's
all worth it.
It's so worth it. What I get back from them, I mean, just like I said, they are my friends, and it's just the peace that they are. I love just listening to them eat their hay. I love them, because they're all comfortable. They're all great. It's a great feeling knowing that what I'm doing for them and the feeling I get back from them is just amazing. You're talking 1,300-pound animals, 1,000-pound animals that you can move with a finger because you just touch them and they'll move over. Or they could really do you some harm if they were not good animals. And there's not one animal in my barn that I would ever think is going to hurt anybody intentionally. I mean, they might step on you. That's not their fault. You put your foot in front of theirs, It happens. So, and you deal with their ailments the best you can for as long as you can.
How do you care for roosters?
Roosters are so easy to take care of. They take care of themselves.
Are they really?
Yeah. But I mean, they're all in their own right easy. What do you consider hard? It's all relative, I guess.
I'm being told that we are ready to draw to a close. Thank you very much. We've had another good year with fur, fins, and feathers. I can't believe 2020 will be here in a few days. Gosh. Thank you all and have a very blessed and a very happy holiday season.
Thank you, Brian.